Hello, and welcome. This is episode 4, I believe, of the Getting Into HCP Vault Radar series. My name is Michael Kosir, developer advocate at HashiCorp, and with me is Chris Williams. Chris,
hey, everybody. I am Chris Williams, also developer advocate here at HashiCorp, and we are here it's been a long and strange journey. It's been a grand 4 episodes of hijinks, shenanigan, fun, knowledge, the friends we made along the way, and
committing secrets.
Yeah, and sharing our secrets with the entire world. Fortunately, they were expired secrets that we actually made sure that we couldn't get into anything beforehand. But we did spill some secrets. How are you doing today, Michael?
I am doing fantastic. The series has been fun. We're on episode 4. I think our last and final episode for this Getting Into HCP Vault Radar series. And then, shortly after this, we're kind of entering conference season. Seems like every episode I do a plug there. Definitely not trying to do that on purpose. But just for the viewers there, this will be, I believe, the last episode. So if you have any questions, comments, feel free to put them in the chat below. I know Chris, while we're doing this, I'll be on the screen working, and then Chris
will be paying attention.
Yep. Yeah, Chris will be watching the comments. He can raise questions as they come in or answer them directly if he can. But as you do so, please remember to be welcoming, respectful, be mindful. I put the link up there for the community guidelines if you are interested in reading them. Yeah, with that, Chris, are you ready to get started? I can share my screen. I guess before we do that, so episode 4, let's do a recap. So this is episode 4. So episode 1 was all about kind of intro overview of HCP Vault Radar. What is Vault Radar? And if you're just joining now, this is your first first time joining the stream, definitely highly recommend you go watch episode 1, 2, and 3, where we cover episode 1. We cover what is radar, secret scanning, PII. We scanned some GitHub cloud repositories. Now I'm trying to remember what we did. That was 3 weeks ago at this point, or 4 weeks ago. And then
we were submitting PRs and trying to see what we could get away with. Had some branches and basically kicking the tires on Vault Radar to see what we could break. Didn't break anything. That we saved for episode 2, where we fully broke everything. But then we figured out that we could blame Rosemary for it in episode 3. It's been an emotional roller coaster, honestly.
Yes. It was more of kind of user error on my part, and then also on the teams as well. So not necessarily a radar specific problems, just more of, I realized that we've had already done the thing that we were trying to do, which is why it didn't work. But so in episode 2, we went and talked about GitHub pull PR checks, which then we also did in episode 3. Episode 3, we also talked about agent scanning. So episodes 1 and 2 were around using HCP, which is the HashiCorp Cloud Platform, kind of like
and Slack integrations.
And Slack integrations. Yes, Slack and Teams integrations and ServiceNow integrations for ticketing and alerting. And then we also discussed, so a lot of that was around using GitHub Cloud, right? We're scanning these public, quote unquote, public resources, right? The public internet. But a lot of people also run GitHub Enterprise on-prem, and they're running Confluence on-prem and Jira on-prem and Slack on-prem, right? So how do we scan those from that perspective? And just like you mentioned in episode 3, very similar to how those Terraform agents work. So there is the concept of HCP Vault Radar agents. So we can put those agents in your private environment, and then it can do all of the scanning. And then all it is doing is uploading the metadata. So it's not uploading the actual secrets that it finds, just the metadata around the items that it finds up to HCP. That way you have one centralized place to look at everything. This episode is all about integrations with Vault, which is exciting. So we can use Vault to index our secrets. That way, when Vault Radar is looking out for new secrets in code and in documentation, if it finds something, it can cross-reference with Vault and say, hey, this secret actually lives in Vault. And it actually gives it a higher, or I think the status is critical. It gives it a critical status or severity in the Radar dashboard, which we'll see here. And that's because the secret lives within Vault. So there was, why are we taking it out of Vault and storing it in code if it already lives in Vault, right? Typically, if you're using a secrets manager like Vault, you are going to have some sort of organization-wide policies, procedures, things like that on how to implement those into your code. So Chris, I know you're a big Terraform guy. Is that correct?
I try to be. I play one
How
on
much
TV.
do you know about Vault and secrets management? We'll get into it a little bit, but I just wanted to get your initial feedback.
I mean, the reason why you drugged me into this was because you're like, hey, Chris, how much do you know about Vault? And I said, next to nothing. And he said, great, I need you on the show to be the guy that doesn't know anything. And I was like, I can play that. But I will admit that I did do one tutorial just to make sure that I could speak semi-coherently about it. So I cheated. I apologize.
No, that is completely fine. And so as we go through this, Chris, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I'm sure a lot of people watching this either now live or in the future might have similar comments about Vault. Again, we're not going to do a big deep dive into Vault. I'm just kind of surface level there. But if you're interested in a full getting into Vault series, Rosemary and I and Rosemary and Melissa previously did getting into Vault and then getting into HCP Vault. So HCP Vault being the HashiCorp cloud platform, kind of like SaaS version of Vault, and then Vault being Vault Enterprise, something you would put on-prem yourself. So definitely go check those out. Those are available out on YouTube and Twitch, I believe, and maybe even LinkedIn if you can search.
All three.
Find them.
YouTube, Twitch, and LinkedIn.
Yep. So if you're wanting this kind of similar format, but for Vault and HCP Vault, definitely go check that out. But we'll go ahead and get started. So for this episode, again, we're talking about Vault integrations here. So I'm logged into the HashiCorp Cloud Platform into our project called Getting into HCP Vault Radar. Here we can see our various products that we can spin up, right? So we can spin up Boundary, Packer, Terraform, Vagrant, all of the different HashiCorp products and solutions live out here in this HCP platform. So we've been working in Vault Radar, but for this one, we are going to use Vault Dedicated, so HCP Vault Dedicated. And I actually spun this up beforehand just because this can kind of take 5 to 10 minutes, depending on, there's different settings that you can set up. And so I kind of spun this up already, but I'll quickly go through the setup instructions if you're interested. So you can just click on Create Cluster. You can choose where do you want us to host Vault for you, right? So we can host Vault on AWS or we can host Vault on Azure currently. And for, I think my example, I'm doing AWS. You're able to select, what type of Vault do you want? Do you want a development Vault, Essentials Vault, or Standard Vault? This all will play into the pricing and feature capability there. Because this is just a live stream, I'm just using a development Vault cluster, which only has one size, right? So a 2 vCPU, 1 gig RAM instance. But if you were to click, one of these higher end ones, you're able to choose small, medium, or large cluster sizes again. So kind of neat here that there's different options for you, depending again on those features, support, and client counts that you might require. After that, again, we're deployed on AWS, so there's some networking that might be involved here. I'm just using a lot of the defaults. If you're doing this, you might want to talk to your infrastructure and security teams. And then you can give it a name. I just gave it Vault Cluster. And then some cool things here is that there's some templates, so pre-configured, predefined templates to help you get up and running as quickly as possible. I just picked the start from scratch because I want to do all of this live in front of you today. But you can also, if you really care about Vault encryption, transit encryption, transform, format preserving encryption, tokenization, you can choose this encryption option that will kind of auto deploy some things for you there. Maybe in our case, we could have used the key value or KV secrets template because that's what we're going to be using today. But then also if you're into PKI, public key infrastructure, you can choose that one as well. Again, I just clicked start from scratch and then I hit create cluster. Again, that could take 5 to 10 minutes depending on what size and everything you chose. So we have this up and running already. We can see the Vault version. Because we're doing this again as a demo, I have it actually publicly exposed. So there's a private URL and a public URL. And then if you need an admin token, you can click this button and it will generate an admin token as well. We're going to be, I was thinking we were going to connect through the command line, but we're actually going to go through the UI. But if you want to connect through the command line, you can just click on this button here, and this will kind of give you some of those export variables of, export your Vault address and export your Vault namespace here. Again, you'll still have to export your Vault token by clicking this generate token button as well.
Hey, Michael.
Real
quick, what's a Vault namespace?
Yes. So Vault Enterprise and HCP Vault has this concept of namespaces. So it's kind of like a vault within a vault. So rather than deploying, and managing 2, 3, 5, 10 Vault clusters for, your HR department, your engineering department, and all of these or different organizations, or however you want to split it up, namespaces are a way to kind of get that isolation and segmentation all within one Vault cluster, right? So we can spin up a namespace for our engineering or R&D, spin up a namespace for security and a namespace for HR or whoever wants to use it. I've also seen people do namespaces by, prod or non-prod, or if you want to have different clusters for that as well. Right. So I've kind of seen a lot of different things, but kind of just the quick summary there is it's like a vault within a vault.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Yeah. So I'm going to click on this public URL here to go out to the Vault UI. I will bump this up because this is a new tab. So for those unfamiliar with Vault, there's a couple different ways that you can log into Vault. Because this is a brand new cluster, I just spun this up. Currently, the only one that will work is token, but as an admin, I'm able to set up, username, password. If you have Active Directory or LDAP, you can use that. Okta, JWT, OIDC, GitHub SAML, etc. You'll notice that some of these are meant for human users and some of them are meant for, actually, I think all of the ones on here might be for human users because I think we hide the machine user. So there's also AWS auth, Azure auth, GCP auth, Kubernetes auth, app role. So there's a lot more auth methods here. I think the ones listed here are kind of meant for human users because you're using the graphical user interface here. So I need a Vault token. So I'm actually going to come back here. I'm going to move this to another tab because I'm going to click on that generate token button. And I believe it just pops it up. Oh, no, it doesn't. Look at that. Look how great we are. I love that because if you've been following along, you'll notice that
you were quick on the draw for that one.
Many other times I click on things, whether it's on GitHub or ServiceNow or sometimes, HCP, I'll click on create token and then it just exposes the token, which is not very good for a screen share. But in this case, it created a new admin token and it added it to my clipboard history. So I'll go ahead and move this. I'll minimize this. But I love it.
Last episode, we did this 3 times and had to redo it accidentally because we're like, oh, don't.
Yeah, over and over again, kept exposing our service secret, which we'll have to do as well. So in here, this is Vault. We're running Vault 1.19.8. I can click on secrets engines. There's a number of secrets engines. Again, I'm not trying to really go into Vault because we might be limited on time. Maybe if we have some time at the end. There's a lot of different secrets engines here that you can use. If you're just using static secrets, an API key, a username, a password, something that doesn't really change that often, you're probably going to be using the KV secrets engine, which is key value. But again, it can do SSH credentials. It can do transit encryption, time-based passwords, PKI certificates. You can use Vault to generate cloud credentials, so AWS, Azure, GCP, Ollie Cloud, as well as databases. So if you have MongoDB and Postgres, Vault can generate short-lived dynamic credentials for those. So very cool tool. Definitely go check out those other streams. But for Radar, Radar works with the key value or KV engine. So we're going to enable that. And then we can create some secrets here, Chris. And I'm thinking we just do, we'll do, let's see, prod / apps and then app 001, and we'll call this database. So there is a database secrets engine, but I'm just going to hard code something here. And, don't worry, nothing and then I'll put a password. And I'm just going to throw in some, we don't got to worry about it. I'm going to use UUID gen. So this is just generating some random UUID. This is not a password. Don't try to use it. It's not going to work. I think I say that every time. But I'll put this password in.
Or do try to use it.
Yeah, do try to use it.
Yeah.
I don't know
knows what it'll unlock.
Yeah, let me know what it unlocks. That'd be pretty interesting.
I'm rich.
So here we have, app. We'll call it app 001 is our username, and our password is this UUID. Again, I just generated that. We'll hit save here, and then we can come back out, and I will create a new secret and do prod. What did I have? Apps, app 001. And then let's say our application is using some weather API, and we need an API key. So API key, and again, I'm just going to generate some UUID here, and then we will put this in here and save that. So now when we come back out here, we can there's like a folder hierarchy. So we can go prod, apps, app 001, and we can see there's a database and a weather. And when we click into them, we can see the current version. And if we need to ever get, the raw secret, we can come out here and see what that is here. Again, just made up some random password here. So we just stored our first secret in Vault. Chris, how are you feeling with that? You're a Vault expert now?
I'm actually we're getting a bit of engagement from Richard Boyd in the chat, and he's like, "That's the same password I use for my luggage," which is we
made that joke
back to Spaceballs. Yes,
and we made that joke last episode. So it's great. So now I'm gonna make a new KV engine called Shared, and then we're just having fun with it. DevRel community. And then demos. Let's just call this, another API key. I can't really. There's only so many things I can come up with, but we'll save this key here as well. And so now, secret. We have this API key as well. So when we come out to and look at our secrets, we have a KV engine, KV-V2 engine. Called KV, and then we have another one called Shared. And so this one is going to be for our applications, and then this one will just be for maybe human shared passwords that you want to keep in Vault. Kind of up to you. So now we put things into Vault. Now we can switch over to the Vault Radar piece and actually start integrating Vault and Vault Radar together, right? So first we had to put these secrets in there, and now we can do the whole process. I guess before moving on, Chris, you might be mentioning or wondering how you would access these. So Vault is kind of deny by default, right? Just because you have access to Vault doesn't mean you can access everything in Vault. Vault has a really good policy or ACL system, access control lists. And so with these policies, you're able to define access to various things. Everything in Vault is path driven. Right. So if you noticed when we were back in the secrets engines, it's, KV/ and then prod apps, app 001 database. Right. Mm-hmm. So we can see this API path here essentially. And so that is what we use to write policies. So we can write someone read only access to the secret, or we can grant, a user, a developer, write access. That way they can change the secret as well. So again, everything in Vault is policy driven, deny by default, and then you use policies to grant access. But with that, so Vault is kind of set up. We stored some secrets, some basic secrets in Vault. we can come back over to HCP and go to Vault Radar. And then we can go to Settings and Secrets Managers. So in episode 1, 2, and 3, we kind of went through a lot of these integrations, GitHub apps, PR checks, custom expressions, but we skipped this Secrets Manager one. And here we can create a new secret manager. But I'm actually just now remembering we need to talk about the agent pools again. So last episode, we deployed agent pools, which is a way to scan on-premise resources as well. The way that this Vault integration works is that it works through agent pools. So we have to actually set this back up. So I disconnected this the last time. Episode 3 ended and I shut down the agent because I was just running it locally. So we actually have to set the agent pool back up. So we have to set that first. So if we go back to HCP under access control IAM, and then on the left, we go to service principals. We can make a new service principal, and I'll just call it HCP Vault Radar Agent. The select a service, we can pick Vault Radar. And the role here, so you can either pick Vault Radar Agent or Vault Radar CLI. So again, we kind of covered some of this on episode 3, so I'm going to move just a little quick here. We'll create that service principal, and then I'll come into keys. And then we're going to click generate key, but this is where I have to be careful because this one. So I'm going to move this off the screen.
There you go.
And I will generate a key. So this will give you a client ID and a client secret. All right. And now in our terminal, we need to export a couple things. So again, this is from episode 3. Export. So I'm just typing in a notepad here real quick so I can copy paste. So we're going to export our HCP project ID and export our HCP Radar Agent Pool ID as well. And then we will export our client ID or HCP client ID. So that's not something secret. And then this thing that I will now put in here, I'm going to move this off the screen. We will export, actually, I'll show this part real quick. We're going to export HCP client secret. And so then this is where we put our client secret. But now I will move it off the screen and let me put in this secret. So this is the problem that we were having with episode 3.
I mean, we definitely have bad actors in the audience. Folks like Richard Boyd, to not to name any names or anything. Richard's an old friend of mine, so.
Oh, okay. Perfect. And then we also need to export, which I guess we'll do that part in a minute here. So we'll do Vault-Radar. So this is the Vault Radar CLI, which again covered in episode 3, agent exec. I'm going to just run this from my local computer here. Ideally, you would put this in Kubernetes. That way, if it falls down, it can stand back up. All of that, great high availability, resiliency, things like that. So I'm hoping. Oh,
ta-da!
Look at that. Ta-da! Boom. We are connected. So now we can.
That.
I know it was, and so we can see the last heartbeat. I was hoping, fingers crossed, that this would actually connect on the first attempt, and so I'm
well
very
done.
thankful. So now we can go to Secrets Manager because we do have this agent pool added, and then I will connect a new secret manager. And currently, the only one that you can set up is Vault. Vault type though, so you can do if you're self-managed on-prem doing Vault Enterprise, and I say on-prem, that could also be in AWS, Azure, GCP. If you're self-hosting, self-manage, you want to click that one. If you are HCP Vault dedicated, which is what we're doing for this this demo here, we're going to select that one and hit next. And then here, this is where I put in the URL to our Vault instance, but I'm also going to we need to add permissions. And there should be, I thought, so we need to add these specific policies, but I want to say that there is a specific policy that it gives us just kind of automatically that we can copy paste. So I'm hoping we can find that again. So let's see. Let me put in our URL to this is here. And we'll put this here as well. And on this page, we'll put this in, and you don't need to put the HTTPS, but essentially you put out, where is your Vault address located? And then how do you want to authenticate to, how do we want to authenticate to Vault? Again, ideally, if you're running the Vault agent on Kubernetes, picking something like Kubernetes auth is probably the better choice here, because that is short-lived dynamic credentials. Kubernetes auth, it just auto rotates. You don't have to worry about secret 0. But in this demo fashion, we're just going to use token. And I think this is the link that I was hoping for here. So we get some documentation for configuring Vault env variables. Nope, that wasn't the one that I was hoping for, but we're just going to put env Vault _ token. So this is something that we'll have to set on the agent as well. So I'll do that here in a second. I'm just looking for, oh yeah, this is going to fail. I thought this was going to bring me to a next step. So let's take a look for, I want to say that there was an overview, set up the agent, integrate with Vault Enterprise, and then here's the policies. There we go. So we can copy this policy, and then I'm going to do this part from, I guess I could do half of it in, so if I go to access, or not access, policies, I can create a new policy, and I'll call this Vault Radar Agent, and I will just paste in this policy. So what this is doing is just kind of granting read permissions to various things. If you're interested, you can, I believe this one kind of tells you everything that it is doing, right? So listing namespaces, listing auth mounts, listing secrets mounts, et cetera, et cetera. So we made that policy, but now because I'm doing this, I'm going to make a specific Vault token, and I will do that. I was going to do that from the command line. I don't know if I can do that in here. Let's see. We will copy our token. So I'm going to just real quick export Vault token. We need to make a new token for Vault. And so I'm going to do this part from the command line because it's just a little bit easier. So if I bring this over again and I do Vault status, that should tell us that Vault is up and running. So we are connected from the command line, just like we're connected from the UI. And so if I do Vault secrets list, we can see our KV and our shared. So those are the things that we set up already. But I want to make a specific token, and I will, where'd my terminal go? Export. And then, again, this is kind of just for this demo purpose here. Ideally, you would use something like Kubernetes, but I don't think we have the time. That would probably take a lot of the time trying to get Kubernetes set up and installed and everything like that. But so here, I'm just going to do a Vault token create. I'm going to give it a TTL of 24 hours, and then I'm going to set the policy to, what did I already forgot? What did I set the policy name to? Vault Radar Agent. Yeah. Vault Radar Agent. And the way that agent, there we go. The way that I have this set up is that I'm doing this kind of Vault command, and then it's immediately storing it in a Vault token, which I am now just realizing I need to do back on. So I need to stop the Vault Radar agent that was running, and I need to I need to export those things again. So 1 second. I was ahead of myself. Vault token like that and like that. All right, bring this back over. And so I exported the Vault address, namespace, all of the good stuff. And then here we are going to export this, and I can change this again to Vault Radar agent. So this is going to generate a token and then immediately store it into a environment variable. That way I don't accidentally expose it, because I have a history of that. I thought I'd be extra, extra careful today. So now we can do that Vault Radar agent exec again. So this is going to spin up our, this is going to spin up our Vault Radar agent again. Ideally, this is in Kubernetes. So anytime you're changing any of these environment variables, Kubernetes is going to handle that rotation for you, right? So when you add a new environment variable, Kubernetes will spin a new one up and tear the old one down. Here. So now if I go back, we should.
I was just saying, do you need to repick it back up from the HCP side?
Let's see. Yeah, let's go agent. So it's connected again, which is great.
Awesome.
Last 11:31 a.m. Yep, that's perfect. Secrets manager, connect new secrets, HCP Vault dedicated. Next, paste that in and then hit token. And then we just give it the name of the environment variable. That's the agent that's running, right? So in our terminal here, I exported that environment variable as just Vault token. And so we can click that and hit next. So this is now running. We can see this nice spinning icon here. And I'm hoping this might take, let's see if something, there we go. Index source successfully added. And if we refresh this page, we should see, there we go. So we see our secrets manager. It's what type it is, scan. It's currently read only. So you can have Radar read and write to Vault, but currently we are just doing read only. And then from here, if we click into it, we can see what namespaces we have. So if you have a bunch of different namespaces, again, those Vault within Vaults, those would all show up here, and you can see the status of Vault Radar scanning and indexing each one of those. We can see that there was a scan that was just completed. So like right when you add this, it does a scan of Vault and indexes everything in Vault. You can also reschedule an index or re-index the whole thing. I just click that and now it's rescheduling that request. I think that it does it automatically as well. So it's not something that, you have to do daily or something like that. But like if you're for whatever reason want to like show something and you need to force a re-index immediately, you can click these, reschedule index or re-index buttons here as well. All right, Chris, so we connected the secrets manager. That actually went, I think, pretty smoothly. Any questions about Vault or the agents or the connection piece? Again, we covered agents and agent pools in episode 3, so we did kind of go through that a little bit fast. But any comments or questions?
A couple of no. Richard had to drop. He said, "Thanks for sharing your secrets." No, I mean, I have some generic Vault-based questions, but probably not for the getting into Vault Radar series. So I will table those.
Let's table those if we have time at the end. It looks like we're already at 34, so I think we're doing okay on time. So we integrated Vault into HCP Vault Radar. We can see the namespaces that exist. Vault already went out and did that index. So we can manage this connection. So if we don't want it anymore, we can delete it or we can edit it. If that environment variable ever changes, we can change that environment variable. So now comes, I think, the fun part. I think the fun part's always committing secrets to GitHub. So in the past, episode 1, we configured these data sources out here, if you remember that. We have HashiCorp Dev Advocates, and we are monitoring 2 resources here, Vault Radar Demo and getting into HCP Vault Radar. So that I actually have up already. So this is our GitHub here, getting into HCP Vault Radar. This is where we set up, or I think we tried setting up the PR checks here. It didn't work because I already had it set up. So I had to do it in my other account or my other organization. But here, so we're going to commit some secrets. And I'm going to put some in the documentation here. So if you need access to the API, use this API key. And then, API, and then I'll just put this in here. But I need to go to Vault. So the whole idea around this is that we're matching things that exist in Vault, right? So I'm going to go out to shared, DevRel, community, demos, pull our little secret here so I can either, view it or I can copy it. And then I will go back out to GitHub and I'll just paste it in here. I'll say API equals, and maybe even like export, So we're just putting something fun in here. And then we will commit these changes, Sure, we're going to commit. Add it. Look at that commit message. Add API key information to README. Thank you, Copilot. And then we will we'll just commit directly to the main branch here.
Not even are you sure you want to do that?
Yeah, not even just right to the main branch.
I see you want to commit an API key. They should cut to the meme of the shame lady ringing the bell. Just what are you even doing? Shame.
And then, so here we see that we committed, it's in our README as well. We also have a Python file out here as well. We can try to put these out here. Let's go weather _API. And then I think we stored that under KV prod apps app01 weather. So this is like simulate. We have some like weather API key, right? We're building some weather application. We'll store that out here. And then I think we had a database DB user equals and DB _password equals. And we'll take these from Vault as well. Database secret, copy. I believe, that's the password, and then the user is here. So we'll commit this as well. We'll see what add API and database credential as constants. Perfect. Commit directly to main because we're brave. And there we go. So we committed our secrets. Again, Vault Radar should be scanning these, so we can switch over to HCP Vault Radar. I can click into events and we can see, let me hide this thing on the left-hand side here. And we can see that we do have a severity high, which is from actually September. Yeah. Is that from just now? Yeah. This is from now.
Date's off, but
yeah, I don't know why the date's off. That's what was throwing me off because I was like, that's not today's date, which is interesting. But if we click in that, so we can see that the tag got put secret in a README file because it is in a README file. And the type is password assignment because we're doing API equals whatever the API key is. We can see that the severity is high because it exists in Vault. If this secret, yes, if this secret did not exist in Vault, and we can see that it exists in Vault by this managed location here, we can see like what Vault cluster this exists, and we can also see where in Vault, right? So we can see, I can zoom in here maybe a little bit more, or it seems like the zoom on this, this might be, hopefully you can see that. So it's under, admin namespace and then shared data DevRel community demos, right? So as we're doing this, I immediately know where the secret lived within Vault, and I can go talk to those teams and or the owner of the repo and say, we have secrets in Vault. We have these standard practices around how to use secrets from Vault. So let's try to do that, and then we can rotate the secret in Vault as well, right? So I think the idea with this is it finds that it lives in Vault. We can go out to Vault and rotate that password, or work with the team to rotate the password that lives in Vault, and then go from there. There should be some more. I might have to manually trigger the new scan.
There comes the next one.
This one has the right date on it. I wonder if that has something to do with maybe the
first time that you posted it or something.
Yeah, or something. Or you know what? I think that was when I tested it, which is interesting.
Okay. So more should be popping up then.
Yeah, more should be popping up as they're being scanned. But here we can see this DB one. If I click this will take us right out to the code. We can see our database password is equal, right in the code here. And we can get to that by clicking on this blue hyperlink. But this one as well, we can see that this is a managed location as well, that lives at admin KV data prod apps app 001 database, right? So we can go out to that KV mount, we can talk to those teams, and we can help them rotate that password as needed, and then help them not accidentally hard code their credentials in the future. If you want to filter, so on the left-hand side here, we have all of these unreviewed, resolved, false positive, etc. If we only want to see the ones that are in Vault, you can come down to Managed and click Managed by Vault. So this one will actually only show us the ones that are managed by Vault. So you might think that these are more critical than other secrets. So you can come out here, review them, and then you can change these as you work them, right? So once we go talk to this team, we can say, all right, they rotated the password, they cleaned the Git history. We can mark this one as resolved. And then it will go away from the screen because we're only looking at unreviewed or triaged. But if we hit resolved, it pops back up. So it still lives out here, just a different filter or status is tied to it. Yeah, so kind of neat there, Chris, that we can use Vault for that indexing purpose as well. And again, we're running this through that Vault Radar agent pool. So if I come back out to settings and go to agents, we have this agent pool, which is running. It's running on my local computer here, which we set up. Again, ideally, you would put it in Kubernetes. And then with that, we went to secrets managers, connected a new secrets manager, and followed all of the steps. Again, there was that link out to the documentation that had the policy that we could copy paste over. Yeah, so I think, they did a good job. It was honestly pretty simple. There were a couple things you have to do with the agent. You have to have the agent pool first before you do the secrets manager, and then the Vault tokens and things like that. So you definitely want to work with your Vault teams when you're doing this. Or if you're setting up this process, you're probably already working with the Vault teams while you're doing this process.
The false positive, so there was an option to filter by false positives. Is that something that you have to manually flag in an event? Or is that, I don't see how it could know that it was a false positive automatically. You'd have to tag it, right?
Yeah. So I'm thinking, and I'm not positive here, but I think you're exactly right. So as Radar finds things, it does its best to give you a good severity rating, right? And we kind of covered that in a little bit in episode 1 about the dynamic severity ratings, right? So it looks at the various things. You can actually override a lot of those. So if you say, if I go out to settings and then event rules, we can get a list of all of them, right? So if we say an artifact reaccess token, we always want that to be critical. We can change that here. But by default, everything is dynamic. It's looking at, for some of these, it can actually reach out to the resource. So like AWS credentials, it can reach out to AWS and say, is this an active credential? For your question, Chris, I think you're right that, as I'm reviewing these, Radar is not perfect, so it might find something. But you could always click on something and then change the status here to false positive.
I see. Okay.
I don't know what that would do in the future, right? So if I click out to this secret key, we get this, what is this? An AWS secret key as an example. What I don't know and would be interested in finding out. So if you go down this process, feel free to leave a comment here in the future or reach out to me. What I'm curious is if I mark this as a false positive and then later this exact phrase pops up again, is Radar will it,
Yeah,
is it even going to alert on it? Right. So
that was my follow-up question. Like, does it turn it in? Does it submit it as like some kind of like learning thing so that it then knows in the future, like this is, yeah.
Yeah. So I'd be interested in testing that out. Maybe something to do offline, or if anyone viewing here wants to play around with it, shoot me a message on LinkedIn. I'd be interested in knowing that if I don't have time to test it out. So I think that really covers. So we covered the reading of secrets and the indexing from a secret manager, which is HCP Vault. Again, we did read only as well, but you can actually change this to read and write. So we're not going to cover it here, but Vault can actually write, or Vault Radar can write the secrets that it found back to Vault. That way you can work them and triage them there in Vault as well. We didn't have that set up here. We're just doing, read-only access, but you can go down the route of setting up write access and then pushing the kind of unfound or found and unmanaged secrets into Vault. That way you can, manage them into the future there.
Oh, so that Radar can go out and go, hey, I found a bunch of secrets, and you can basically set it so that it dumps them into Vault, so that in the future, after you've changed the API key, you can then manage it in Vault successfully and scrub it out in the wild. That makes sense.
Right. Yeah. And I think it also now, I think would also help with the indexing as well, because once it gets added, it's now going to be indexed. So then any other things it finds is going to have that higher rating as well.
It'll pop, right? Exactly.
Yeah. I think there's a couple cool things that you can do there. But again, I thought this was, I did test some of it. I didn't test all of it because I like to do a lot of this as live as possible. As you saw in episode 2, we were doing it live and running into some problems, but those problems were the community team, not Radar. So that
we'll get her back when she comes back.
I know it's not Rosemary's fault. It is. So we have about 13 more minutes here. So I wanted to take this time and talk about some of the kind of, I don't know to call them advanced features or beta features that are out there with Radar, and specifically around the CLI. So a lot of what we've been doing has been in the UI in HCP, right? We're messing with this dashboard in the project and looking at resources. And if we want to scan a new item, we add a new data source and we can scan GitHub and GitLab and Azure and Confluence, right? But Radar can actually scan more than just these things here. This is only what HCP currently supports. If you go out and look at which I had it up here. So if you look at the Vault Radar CLI documentation out on developer.hashicorp.com, we can scroll down on the left-hand bar here, and there is a scan section, right? So for a lot of this, we've been running Vault Radar agent exec, but here we are going to, we can run scan, and we can see these other things that we can scan as well, right? So you can scan parameter store, you can scan S3, you can scan a Docker image, which I do want to try. I actually built a insecure Docker image locally, so I'm interested in trying that out. You can scan a file and folder, and then you can scan Slack or even your TFE Terraform Enterprise variables. Again, these are all in beta, so ideally don't do this in production environments, all the beta, warnings and documentation there. But Chris, I think we try it out. I don't know.
Yeah, if we scan our Slack, we might not like what we get back.
we're not going to scan Slack. We're gonna, so I have, if I go to, I think it's documents live stream. So I made, so I have this Radar folder here, and in Radar, I have a code folder and a folder for shell scripts. And so I want to scan this entire folder. So let's kind of take a look at what that looks to scan a folder. So here, Vault Radar scan and then a folder. Ideally, so when you do this process, you do need to give it some sort of API key because it will be uploading things to this resources page here. So it needs some sort of credentials. So even though we're doing the scan locally, it still needs credentials to push the metadata up to the cloud, right? That way they populate out here. And I'm curious to see what they look like. So I will very quickly, because I see we're running low on time. Oh, I went too far back. Sign in. I do that. All right.
I do too.
Access control, we're going to make a new one, service principal. This was our agent here. I'm going to create HCP Vault Radar CLI. Vault Radar as the service and the role. There is a CLI user. I will do that, create service principal, and then keys, and I will take this off the screen here so I can generate a key. And we'll go here, export, I think what was it, HCP client ID. Again, the client ID is not secret, so I can put that out here. And then this one is export HCP client secret, I believe is what it is. Maybe there's an ID on the end. We'll try it this way. So I'm going to move this off the screen, paste that in. And I hit enter a bunch of times because when I when I bring it back over on this, it likes to expand there and try to mess me up.
Oh, because the resolutions are different.
Which they're not different. Both of my monitors are the same resolution, so I don't know.
Oh,
why
really? Oh,
yeah.
Interesting. Huh.
So here it looks like we can just Vault Radar scan folder, path to folder, and then we can do an output CSV, but it's also going to push to the cloud. So let's try this. Vault Radar scan. So what is our folder? Vault -radar scan folder dash. What was it? I already forgot. -p /radar, and then we will do -o and then output.csv. So we will give that a shot. Scanning in progress. I've never done this, so this is
nice.
Cool. Look at that. So we get folder scanned 5 folders. It scanned 6 files, and it found 4 secrets. So bad for me that I am storing secrets on my laptop. If we look at output.csv, that is, I guess I can open it in the CSV editor. That would probably make it a little bit better. But we can see, we can see various things. You know what's going to be easier if I go out to the cloud. That might be a little bit easier. Portal, sign in, and Vault Radar. Let's see. Does it pop up here? I'd be curious if it pushes metadata up here. It might not, but it gives us that output CSV. Or maybe it takes some time. So we'll leave that here while I do some other things. But so we can see that. I know this is bad, but we can see specific files here as well. So it scanned and it found I had a code Kubernetes pod.yaml. And in that pod.yaml, I had a secret, in that pod.yaml file. So I think it was really cool. It was fast. I didn't have that many folders and files there, but
was it YAML files, or did you have a container image in there as well?
So this was only so if I go to Radar, this is only CD Kubernetes and then cat pod YAML here. So this is what I was putting here as well.
Gotcha. Okay.
So again, don't try these AWS access keys. They're not going to work. But so I just was hard coding some AWS access keys. I also built, so if we go out here, Docker image ls. So I built this Vault Radar demo Docker image. And let's try to scan that because I put some hard-coded credentials in there. So if we go out here to Docker image, again, these are all in beta. It looks like we can just do Vault Radar scan Docker image and then -i. So same kind of things here as well. So let's go Vault Radar scan Docker -image -I is Vault Radar demo. And I believe if you read this documentation, you can also scan private. So I have this image pulled locally on my machine, but if you're using some private image repository, you can also have Radar scan the image from there as well. -o output.csv. Scan this. Unable client. What is client? Oh, my client version is too new. So it looks like I was worried about this. My Docker version, I believe my current Docker version is.
Oh, did you just update it?
I might have just updated it, and I think this documentation says that it only works for. Again, it's currently in beta, so a lot of these things the team is still working out with versioning and things like that. So not super surprising. It was cool to see the file folder one works. What was the? Let's see, daemon client version 1.48 is too new, right? So it looks like it can only work with 1.47, which is that. So I would have to downgrade my Docker client in order to scan this here. So unfortunately, can't show you that one. But if you want to go down this route, make sure you have the appropriate one. Again, this is in beta, so I imagine in the future that they're going to support a whole number or a whole range of Docker versions as well. Just for this beta, it's a very specific Docker. I do see we're coming up on time, so Chris, I'm going to I think end it here. Do you have any questions about the CLI scanning before we kind of wrap up and move on to questions?
No, you had some great follow-ups for us to play with. So I'm also going to be tinkering around with it as well.
Awesome. Yeah. So I'll take this off the screen here. Any last questions? Let me pull up the comments here. Awesome. Yeah, I saw Richard Boyd had to drop as well. So.
He asked a bunch of silly questions that we shall not be answering.
All right.
Well, actually, one of those silly questions, which actually is rooted in something that makes sense. Would you rather store 1 horse-sized secret or 100 duck-sized secrets?
So that actually is a good question. So I think I would actually store more smaller secrets, right? Because the way that Vault access control works. So if you notice when we were doing the Vault KV engine, right, we were storing, we did our, I think it was prod apps, app 001, and then we had database, and then we had prod apps 001, and then it was AP or weather, right? So we had database and weather for one application. And you might be wondering, well, like I could have just put that under app 001 and then had, DB user, DB password, weather API, right? I chose to split it out because then that allows us to build policies for each of those directly, right? Because they're separate secrets, we can write and say, hey, Chris is able to access the weather API and write to the weather API, but he's not allowed to get to the database secret. If it's all in one big JSON blob, the policies aren't that granular at the secret, at that secret level. So,
gotcha.
It's a funny question, but it actually ended up being pretty relevant there. So I would,
and he logged off, so we will not tell him that was actually a good question. We have to make sure that he does not know that. We will edit this out.
Clip this part and remove it from the video on demand on YouTube and LinkedIn and Twitch. So, but. With that, I think we're at the top of the hour. So I want to thank everyone for joining us along the series, this 4-episode series. Again, this was all about HCP Vault Radar. If you're interested, Cole and Rosemary did a getting into boundary. Myself and Rosemary, we did getting into HCP Vault. And then Rosemary and Melissa did a getting into HCP Vault or Vault Enterprise. So they did Vault Enterprise. Rosemary and I did just HCP Vault as well. So there's a lot of these getting into series where we kind of just play around with it, try to break things along the way and act as developers and figure it out ourselves. So with that, we'll see, hopefully see you at HashiCorp. So.
Yep. See y'all in a week. Bye.
Bye.